Have you ever had that feeling right after an argument where you realized you said too much? Or maybe you reacted on impulse and later regretted it? It happens to everyone. Because we've been taught that reacting right away, saying our piece, firing back immediately, is a sign of strength. But today, I want to show you that not reacting is actually a higher form of power, a silent tool, invisible, but incredibly powerful. So what does not reacting really mean? When I say not reacting, I don't mean letting things slide or pretending everything's fine. Not reacting means not letting yourself get dragged around by impulse, not letting the heat of the moment take control. It's that brief moment when you could scream, but you choose to breathe. You could strike back, but you let it go. You could explain, justify, defend yourself, but instead, you stay still, present, calm, clear. Here's the key. Reacting is automatic. It comes from below, from the body. It's like lighting a fuse. But responding is different. Responding means choosing what to do, how to do it, and whether to do it at all. A true response comes from a clear mind, not from a bruised ego. Reacting is throwing a punch. Responding is turning and walking away. And often, the one who walks away is the one who's truly in control. We live in a world that pressures us to do everything instantly. Reply to messages within seconds. Post a comment right away. Defend, attack, explain, justify. If you stay quiet, you look weak. If you don't react, you look guilty. But in truth, the person who can pause, who doesn't jump in, who refuses to be pulled into the drama, that person has the real power, because they're in control of themselves. And when you're in control of yourself, you've already won. Now, not reacting might seem easy, but it's really not. And you know why? Busy. First, it's our biology. Our brain is wired to react. When we sense a threat, even just a little criticism, it triggers an ancient system, fight or flight. Your heart races, your breathing changes, your muscles tighten, your body gets ready for a fight. The problem is, that same response kicks in when someone replies to you rudely on WhatsApp. Then, there's the ego. The ego hates being attacked, misunderstood, or ignored. It wants to fight back. It wants to be right. And if you don't listen to it, it fights harder. It pushes you to say something, anything, even when it's the worst possible time. And finally, there's our culture. We've grown up hearing, don't let anyone walk all over you. At school, at work, in life, we're told that not reacting makes you look weak. But that's just an illusion. Because it takes far more courage to not react than it does to lash out. Throughout this video, we'll explore how not reacting can become a real weapon. Not to destroy others, but to protect yourself, to grow, to live with more balance, more strength, and more clarity. And trust me, once you learn it, you'll never go back. There are moments when words cut like knives. A heated argument, a provocative comment, a judgmental glance, and something inside us stirs. It rises up. It burns. Everything in us wants to respond, to defend ourselves, to fire back. But it's in exactly those moments that real power begins, the power of not reacting. Picture yourself in the middle of a fight. Someone is accusing you, attacking you, raising their voice. You could do the same. You could answer with anger. But instead, you stay silent. You pause. You breathe. Not because you're weak, because you're choosing to. Silence in those moments is worth more than 1,000 words. And it's not empty silence. It's strategic. It's one of the simplest, most powerful ways to break the cycle of reactivity. When you don't react, you take away the other person's toy, your energy. The absence of reaction disarms them. It throws them off. They came expecting a war, and you don't give them one. And just like that, you win, without even fighting. There's a technique for this. It's called active neutrality. It doesn't mean being passive or pretending nothing's wrong. It means staying present, alert, but not getting pulled in emotionally. It's like standing still in the middle of a storm, knowing it will pass. You're there. You observe. You breathe. And you don't get swept away. It works even when someone's trying to manipulate you. You know those people who poke at you, provoke you, try to make you feel guilty? They feed on your reaction. They need you to get upset. They need you to defend yourself. But if you don't react, if you don't give them fuel, they run out of energy. Without your attention, they lose power. This applies to narcissists too. People who need to dominate, control, overpower. People who raise their voices to corner you. Your calmness unsettles them more than any insult could, because you're not playing their game anymore, and when you stop playing, they lose. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is do nothing. Stay still, let it pass, watch it happen without stepping into it, and little by little it shuts them down. It wears them out. It drains them. It's the mirror effect. When you reflect back nothing, the other person is forced to look at themselves. And they don't always like what they see. Then there are the arguments at home, with your partner, with family, the ones that hit closest to the heart, where emotions run high and the risk of hurting each other is real. In those moments, not reacting becomes an act of love, not because you're giving up, but because you don't want to make things worse, because sometimes saying less saves more than 100 explanations. Being able to not react when everything in you wants to is a sign of maturity. It means you can tell the difference between what's truly urgent and what just feels urgent. Most of the time, it's not the moment to answer, it's the moment to listen to yourself. And that's when you ask, am I responding to build something, or am I reacting just to defend myself? That question changes everything. It's not easy, it takes practice. But when you learn to pause, even for just a few seconds, you start to notice something. The argument doesn't explode. The escalation stops. If there's one place where impulsive reactions can really cost us, it's at work. One careless word in the office, a snappy reply to your boss, a sarcastic comment about a colleague, and the damage is done. Sometimes it's small, sometimes big, but almost always unnecessary. Work is a minefield of unspoken emotions. Competition, frustration, pressure. There are days when it doesn't take much to set you off. A poorly written email, a condescending tone, a subtle dig disguised as feedback. And suddenly your mind goes, I have to respond. Right now, I need to show them who they're dealing with. But that's exactly where the real difference begins. The one who reacts loses power. The one who chooses not to gains it. Let me give you an example. Imagine you've got an aggressive boss, someone who only communicates through sarcasm or criticism. Every time you speak up, they interrupt you, diminish you, make you feel small. Inside, you're ready to fire back. But if you do, they get exactly what they wanted, control over you. If instead you stay calm, composed, and detached, they lose their balance. They start to lean too far forward. And you stay grounded. You stay in control. The same thing happens with toxic coworkers, the ones who constantly poke at you, gossip about you, or leave you out on purpose. If you snap, if you defend yourself loudly, they win, because you've fallen into their trap. But if you don't react, if you don't give them the attention they crave, eventually they get tired, because there's nothing to feed on. Now, let's be clear. Not reacting doesn't mean letting people walk all over you. It doesn't mean being passive or silent forever. It means being strategic. It means choosing assertiveness over impulsiveness. Sometimes, not saying anything in the moment gives you the space to say everything later, in the right way, at the right time, when your mind is clear, when the emotion has passed. This works with criticism too. Getting negative feedback can sting, especially if it's blunt, or worse, delivered in public. Our first instinct is to push back, "That's not true," or "It wasn't my fault." But the real power? It's in staying quiet, listening, and then deciding how you want to respond. Not to defend yourself, but to ask, "Is this even worth it?" Calmness leaves an impression. The ability to listen without immediately pushing back shows strength. People start to see you as someone who's grounded, confident, and in a professional setting, someone who's clearly in control of themselves already has an advantage. This also holds true in negotiations. The person who reacts too quickly often loses. The one who waits, who lets the others speak, who doesn't show all their cards right away, is often the one who walks away with the best outcome. Silence is a powerful tool in negotiation. It creates pressure. It forces the other person to fill the gap. And more often than not, those who talk too much end up revealing too much. Remember, if you have to react immediately, you're not in control. You're a prisoner of the moment. But if you can choose when to speak, if to speak, and how to speak, then you have a kind of power no one can take from you. That's why, even at work, not reacting isn't weakness. It's strategy. It's clarity. It's leadership. You might be wondering, why is it so hard not to react? Even when we know that reacting will make things worse, we still do it. Why? The answer is simple, but powerful. We were never taught to pause. No one taught us how to recognize our emotions. We were only taught to do something, to react right away, to speak our mind, to defend ourselves. But the truth is, deep inside us, there's a whole system working against not reacting. Let's talk about the brain, instinct versus control. Inside our brain, there are two forces at play. On one side, there's the amygdala. It's the ancient part of the brain. It lives in the present, sees threats everywhere, and reacts instantly. It's what makes you yell when you feel attacked, or snap when you feel ignored. On the other side, you've got the prefrontal cortex. That part is more evolved. It thinks, reflects, weighs consequences. It's the part that says, wait, breathe. Look at what's really going on. The problem is, when the amygdala takes over, it shuts off that rational part. It's like your brain goes into survival mode and everything else goes dark. Naya. That's why, after blowing up, we sometimes say, "I don't know what came over me." Because in that moment, you weren't driving. It was instinct behind the wheel. Now the good news is, you can train your brain not to react. The mind can learn to pause, even in the face of provocation. This isn't about personality. It's about practice. There are simple tools: mindful breathing, taking a 5-second pause, body awareness. Practices like meditation or journaling can help too. These small, consistent habits teach your brain to stop chasing every impulse. When you practice not reacting, you're literally training your brain to create space, a gap between stimulus and response. And inside that space is your freedom. This idea isn't new. Ancient philosophers had already figured it out thousands of years ago. Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperor and Stoic, said, "If you are disturbed, it's not by the things themselves, but by the judgment you make about them." In other words, it's not what happens, it's how you experience it, and that is a choice. Epictetus echoed the same message. It's not events that hurt us, but our reactions to them. These thinkers understood the power of staying calm, centered, and non-reactive. And they lived in a world without notifications, without social media, without emails. If anything, their wisdom is even more relevant today. In Eastern traditions, the message is the same. Buddhism teaches the concept of disidentification. You are not your anger. You are not your fear. You can observe those emotions without becoming them. Taoism talks about wu wei, which means action without force, flowing with reality. And sometimes, to flow means to stop, to not react, to let the storm pass on its own. Even modern psychology backs this up. Science now shows that impulsive reactions often work against us. The mind tends to exaggerate threats, turning small things into big ones. There's something called the rebound effect. The more you fight an emotion, the stronger it comes back. But if you just observe it, let it be, without resisting, it fades. This is exactly what mindfulness teaches. It helps you stay with whatever is happening, without needing to fight or fix it. And in ACT therapy, acceptance and commitment therapy, you learn not to be ruled by your thoughts, to see them like clouds passing in the sky, and to choose what truly matters. So when you put it all together, science, philosophy, and the way your brain works, they're all telling you the same thing. Reacting is natural, but choosing not to react, that's extraordinary. That's where freedom begins. And the more you practice it, the more it becomes part of you. The more you do it, the stronger you feel. It's not easy, but it's possible. And when you finally manage it, you realize that nothing, truly nothing, can control you anymore. Now that we've understood why not reacting is so powerful, it's time to talk about how to do it. Because yes, not reacting can be learned. It's not something you either have or don't. It's a skill, like playing an instrument or training a muscle. And like any skill, it needs tools. Good intentions alone aren't enough. You need real, practical, everyday practice. The first technique is also the simplest, and yet, it's the one that can change everything. When you feel that urge to react, when something hits a nerve, and you feel the heat rising in your chest, just stop. Don't do anything. Don't say anything. Take one deep, slow breath. Count to 5. That's it. It might sound basic, but in those 5 seconds you're interrupting the autopilot. You're telling your brain, hold on, I'm not an animal, I'm not a robot, I get to choose. In that tiny space, something shifts. The urge starts to fade, your energy cools, your mind clears. It's like stepping out of the emotion and into awareness. If something hurt you, made you angry, made you want to explode, don't respond right away. Grab a pen and paper, or your phone, and write it out. All of it, unfiltered. Say what you want to say. The rant, the raw truth, the sarcasm. Then, put it away. Don't send it. Don't post it. Read it the next day. You'll be surprised how often, with a calm mind, you don't feel the need to say it anymore. Because you already got it out, without doing any damage. Sometimes, staying silent isn't an option. You have to speak. That's okay. Just choose neutrality. Keep your tone calm, your voice steady, your face relaxed. Use simple words. Avoid blame. Avoid exaggerations like always or never. Speak for yourself, not against the other person. Say things like, right now, I don't want to react. I'd rather think it through. Or, I'm taking time before I respond because I don't want to make things worse. These small phrases carry huge power. Because they break the pattern, they throw people off, and they de-escalate tension. The emotions themselves aren't the problem. The problem is when we become them. That's why one powerful technique is simply naming the emotion. It might sound strange, but it works. Just say to yourself, I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling hurt. I'm afraid of being judged. That's it. Just name it. Because when you name something, it loses its grip on you. Or try grounding physically. Touch the table, your hands, your breath. Bring yourself back into your body. Don't stay stuck in your head. Another simple but powerful tool is keeping a daily journal. Every night, ask yourself, when did I react today? How did I feel? What could I have done differently? And did reacting actually help? Doing this daily helps you become an observer of yourself. And only when you see yourself clearly can you truly change. And finally, something essential. Not reacting doesn't mean staying silent forever. It means taking the time to respond with clarity. Want to speak up? Go ahead. But do it when you decide, not your anger. Want to address a problem? Choose the right time. Choose the right words. And you'll notice people will listen to you more, because they'll feel that you're not speaking to hurt, but to understand. Not reacting isn't a superpower. It's a habit. And every time you pull it off, even just once in 10 tries, you've won, because you didn't just avoid a fight. You protected your energy. You chose your peace. You took back your freedom. If you've made it this far, it means something in you has resonated. Maybe you recognized yourself in some of the situations. Maybe you thought about all the times you reacted and later regretted it, or all the times you wanted to stay calm and couldn't. And that's okay. We're human. Reacting is part of who we are. But the truth is, every time you choose not to react, you're doing something extraordinary. You're telling yourself, I am not my emotions. I am not my passing thoughts. I can choose, and that is freedom. In a world that's loud, fast, and always angry about something, choosing silence is a radical act. Choosing calm is an act of strength. Choosing not to react is like saying, no one can take away my peace unless I hand it to them. Not reacting doesn't mean being passive. It doesn't mean backing down. It means having so much self-control, so much inner strength, that you don't need to fight every battle. Your energy is precious. Don't give it away to people who only want to provoke you. Don't waste it trying to prove something to people who don't want to understand. Winat khayr. The real winner isn't the one who yells the loudest. It's the one who knows when to speak, and more importantly, when not to. And now, the message I want to leave you with. Every reaction you manage to avoid is a quiet victory. It's one more step toward a life that's freer, clearer, and more your own. You don't have to win against anyone. You just have to stop losing yourself every time something pushes your buttons. And always remember, the one who doesn't react leads. The one who leads themselves is already out of the game, and the one who's out of the game has already won.